A23a, the largest iceberg, is now leaving the water off the South Georgia Island in August 2025. A23a left no damage to the ecosystem around the South Georgia Island. A23a started drifting on July 4, 2020 from the continental shelf of the Weddell Sea. In February 2025, A23a closed to the South Georgia Island after almost 5 years' journey. People were afraid of damage to the ecosystem around the South Georgia Island by hitting the coastal area. Fortunately, A23a was stacked by the island shelf of the South Georgia Island because of its thickness under the surface being 300 to 400 meters. The major power to let large icebergs drift is the current influenced by the deep ocean circulation. In the Weddell Sea, the Weddell Gyre-related water pushed A23a in clockwise drifting. A23a was pushed to the Scotia Sea, and the Antarctic circumpolar current system carried A23a toward the east. But it was difficult to predict how A23a was being drifted by the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front and its circular currents around the South Georgia Island. After stacking on the island shelf for 3 months from the beginning of March 2025 to the end of May 2025, A23a started drifting towards the southeast. A23a drifted along the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front, which is the current running counterclockwise along the island shelf of the South Georgia Island. The area of A23a was about 4,200 square kilometers on July 4, 2020, which is slightly greater than the state of Rhode Island, 4,001 square kilometers. A23a was scattered into smaller parts, but the largest remaining iceberg keeps its area about 1,750 square kilometers on August 31, 2025, which is almost half of the state of Rhode Island. Images were processed from the Level 0 data of Visible Infrared Radiometer Suites (VIIRS) on JPIS 1 or 2, operated by NOAA. Sea ice and snow are colored yellow, and clouds are colored white to distinguish each other with the combination of spectral bands of VIIRS. Polygons of iceberg were created manually, and its weight centers were plotted for its tracking route. Blue lines are the currents around the South Georgia Island based on the currents presented by Matano et al. 2020. The southern Antarctic circumpolar current front runs deeper water than the island shelf 300 to 400 meter. It was very difficult to estimate the drifting route of A23a because of a couple of branches from the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front. A23a was stacked on the island shelf on February 28, 2025. A major part of the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front took the way to the southeast. The rest of the current took the way to the northeast. A23a stayed on this point for almost 3 months. On May 26, 2025, A23a drifted slowly to the southeast along the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front. The area of A23a was reduced by about 10% from 3,222 square kilometers on February 28 to 2,863 square kilometers on May 26, 2025. Also, an instability of the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front might be one trigger to let A23a drift to the southeast. We may follow the drifting of A23a along the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front. A23a made a small counterclockwise rotation from June 29 to July 17, 2025 for about 20 days. The instability of the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front pushed A23a partly and caused the counterclockwise rotation. August 19, 2025. There was a strong southwest wind to the South Georgia Island. The downwind region of the South Georgia Island showed a clear sky. There might be an upwelling in this downwind region, although the image of sea surface temperature did not show a clear temperature difference between near coast and off coast. The image of chlorophyll A concentration exhibited a clear increase along the northeast coast of the South Georgia Island. This increase of chlorophyll A concentration was observed not only at the river mouth but along the island's coast. It might be caused by the increase of nutrients supplied by the upwelling along the island. It is supposed that the zooplankton might have increased proportionally to chlorophyll A concentration. This food chain might provide a good feeding area for the ecosystem along the South Georgia Island. A23a had passed off the South Georgia Island without causing any negative impact to this ecosystem. A23a drifted along the blue line of the southern Antarctic circumpolar current front by August 31, 2025. It is still difficult to predict the course of A23a in near future.